British people are highly indebted and obliged to Sikhs for a long time. I know that within this century, we needed their help twice, and they did help us very well. As a result of their timely help, we are today able to live with honor, dignity, and independence. In the war, they fought and died for us, wearing the turbans. Today, there are over 500,000 Sikhs living in England. The first immigrants to Britain were the soldier survivors of World War I. Guru Nanak founded Sikhism over 500 years ago on the belief that all human beings are equal. Since its inception, military tradition has played an important role in the Sikh faith. The Sikh Empire established itself in the 18th century during the downfall of the Mughal Empire. Built on the foundations of the Khalsa, Maharaja Ranjit Singh based the empire around Punjab. As Guru Gobind Singh taught, Sikhs shall take up arms in the face of oppression, and when all else fails, take up the sword.
To protect a rose bush, which is beautiful and in so many ways, you must hedge it with thorns. And it's that concept that really gave birth to the military history of Sikhism.
By the early 1840s, the British annexed the majority of India. However, their progress was hindered when they reached Punjab in the north. The Sikh soldiers proved to be a much stronger opposition than the British expected.
There's one person who had written home to say, we've traveled up towards Punjab through India, and we haven't faced an opposition like the Sikhs. They fight with courage, they fight with valor, they approach death as a gift. And it's these qualities that really struck the British. Soon after, when Punjab was annexed, very quickly the British engaged and enlisted the help of the Sikhs in their army.
They were also very particular. They wanted Sikhs who looked like Sikhs. They didn't want Sikhs with cut hair or with cut beards. They wanted Sikhs who were very sure in their faith, because they knew that those people made the best soldiers.
During the First World War in 1914, 1918, England declared war on Germany, and they didn't have enough men to fight in Europe. And so they looked towards India, and India was the only Commonwealth place that had troops ready. And so they came straight from India, and they came straight into the Western Front, fighting on the Western Front in August of 1914.
During the First World War, Sikhs made up less than 2% of the total population of India, yet numbered around 22% of the British armed forces.
What is it that made the Sikhs fight for the British? I tried to study all of these accounts, I tried to look at these pictures, and you look into their eyes and it's so difficult to read. What is it? What is it that made them do it? And I think only they can answer that.
Only a handful of Sikh World War II veterans remain today. To keep the spirit of the Sikhs alive, the soldiers are dedicated to sharing their wartime experiences.
In the First World War, my two uncles had to pass, and both of them were in France and Belgium. Those stories actually instigated me that we should see the other countries, how they are.
कि बाहर जावांगे, लड़ांगे, और देखांगे दुनिया का की हाल है कि
सिखा ने जो लड़े ना वो अपनी देखिया ਆਪਣੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਦਾ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਦਿਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ।
World War II began in 1939 as Hitler's invasion of Poland led Britain and France to declare war on Germany. Over 300,000 Sikhs joined the British military to fight with Allied forces. World War II was the most expansive war ever, taking over 50 million casualties. Dying on the battlefield was considered an honourable act for the Sikhs. In a letter home, a soldier fighting during the Battle of Somme wrote, "It is quite impossible that I should return alive. Don't be grieved by my death, because I shall die with arms in hand, wearing the warrior's clothes. This is the most happy death that anyone can die."
The Sikhs were involved in so many battles. The outstanding one is the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle in France in the First World War. It was one of these pointless battles where so much killing and death results with very little ground being gained by any side. It underlined the futility of that sort of conflict. And the Sikhs were represented with their 3 regiments. Less than half, so 80% in fact, were killed. They were decimated. It was very sad. And the Sikhs coming straight from India weren't even properly clothed. They had loose khaki drill, fine for an Indian summer, but impossible in the winter of Europe. They suffered terribly, but not in spirit. They were always what we call jardi kala. That means always optimistic.
The Sikhs would really embraced war till the last man stands, and that was really their philosophy.
कोई डर डर नहीं सी कि ठीक है कि जब लड़ाई लड़ते हैं तब वो चीज़ डट भी होती है जेरे तो कोई आ गया टाइम उन चले जाना ये कि नहीं आई हो ठीक है.
Sometimes the aeroplanes come, sometimes artillery fire comes, but we were in quite high spirit. And my father used to tell, "You have joined the army, then don't run back. Your bull should come, you straight on your chest." So Sikhs are known like that, very brave.
Due to the sheer number of deaths in the First World War, they decided to house the wounded soldiers in the south of England. Hence, Brighton offered their Royal Pavilion. They would have been wounded in Belgium and they would be taken by hospital train from Belgium to France, to the coast of France, and then by hospital ship from France to the coast of England, and once again by hospital train to Brighton Station, where they would have been met by the whole town, and local inhabitants would line the streets from Brighton Station to the Royal Pavilion, waving and cheering them, welcoming them. During the First World War, there wasn't a lot of men in Brighton, so having 12,000 Indian men in Brighton, and they were considered very handsome men, and they had difficulties keeping the women away from them. And so in the end, the military put high fences around the Royal Pavilion, so even on a double-decker bus, the woman could not look over or anything.
After the Great War, Sikhs were treated like heroes really in Britain, particularly in London, and English people got to see who the Sikhs were all about as well, and they were a fantastic spectacle with their big turbans and their uniforms, their beards and their regimental colours, and they really became characters in Britain. Today, sadly, we've lost that. 100 years on, people do know something about Sikhs, but they might not necessarily know about the immense contribution that they made during the Great War. So it's very important that we raise that awareness and educate others, and also take a lot of pride ourselves that actually our forefathers did so much for Great Britain and indeed for the free world.
This is the first photo with Queen. This one. That one with Duke of Edinburgh, Queen's husband. He was asking me some question of army, so I was talking to him. Queen said only very brief, she speaks only, "Are you all right?" Yes, yes, yes. Keep your health all right. Eh? So that he's Gurdwara, still he's there. He passed away. He's not here. He passed away. He was brigadier. I am here. He passed away. He passed away. He also. So many Sikhs were at that time. Now all passed away, died.
When I was 13, 14 years old, I joined the Air Training Corps. My granddad was very proud of me at that moment in time as well, because he's someone going into the army. I think it's extremely important that we still remember all those people that fought in the war, like my granddad, because obviously without them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
ਸਾਡਾ ਮੁੱਢ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਿਲਟਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਫ ਕਰਦੇ।
You have to fight against tyranny and people who are suppressed. You have to help them. You have not to save yourself only, but you have to save others. Those are very weak. So that is actually our Sikhs history. So it affects us to fight against fascist governments and keep this democracy alive.
In the last two world wars, 83,000 Sikh soldiers were killed and over 100,000 were wounded, all for the freedom of Britain and the world.